Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy, Dr. Coach Irwin L. Hudson, a.k.a. Dr. Coach. Oh, hoops, baby. Folks, all right, we're going to keep it rolling. Episode 10 is on the way. I'm going to keep rocking with Coach Joe Seminara. Listen, learn, and folks, enjoy. Coach Joe Seminara on coaches, parents, and players. Oh, my. Coaches, parents, and players. Oh, my.
If you have the right man at the helm, he'll show you the right way to play.
Gotcha. Okay, well, let's talk about that because I know that's a tough situation, especially nowadays. 35 years ago, coaching at Evans, where you got a lot of the parents weren't involved and they would drop their kids off, or their kids just came there and they played for pride, and like I said, that bench was very, very useful. My problem right now, I know, and I still believe that the bench is a powerful tool for those who are loyal to the school, because right now you put somebody on the bench, they quit. I ran into that where even when I didn't bench kids, they end up quitting.
Yeah. So, bench them or not, they're going to do, if they're not getting 20 a game, it's your fault.
Yeah.
And they're going to look, those kind of kids are going to see, no matter what you do, you're never going to be able to keep them happy.
Gotcha.
Or their parents. What you're trying to find is the athlete. And I coached a lot of underman teams too. Coaching at Evans, yes, we had a lot of skill and a lot of talent and a lot of players. But I've been to other programs where we weren't as blessed. But I wanted the kid who would listen, who would try to do what we asked him to do.
Gotcha.
Those kind of kids are coachable, and you take them from a average to slight below average to, by the end of the year, they're a player, and they're going to help you down the road. But they have to buy in, and they really need to sell your two best players.
No, I got you. So, and like I said, but the big thing right now, even at these schools, back then, like Calvin, he coached there 20 years at Evans. You don't get that long nowadays to do that.
No, and a lot of it has with the administration and whatnot. If you're staying that long, you're either winning, or the administration doesn't care if you win, long as you don't get in any trouble. They're happy.
Exactly.
Okay, but if you have a aggressive administration, they want to see it being done the right way with wins and putting their school on the map, so to speak.
Yeah.
When you win state championships, people from around the state hear of your school. Where if not, a lot of people never even heard of some of the schools because they've never been there.
Yeah.
So obviously, if they hear of you, more students will want to come, more money, blah, blah, blah. And as the administrators are looking at it, they're looking at all that stuff. To me, if you're doing it the right way, and you have to be realistic about your athletes. Now, although the way things change, I know you're not allowed to ask kids to come play for you, but indirectly they get asked.
Oh, yeah. I think directly too nowadays. I mean,
I don't think many people are hiding it.
Yeah, they're not.
So I think that was a big problem when the state opened that up to where you could go to anywhere. Now guys are trying to build power teams, kind of like the NBA did 25 years ago.
Yeah, gotcha. And so going to that then, knowing that you're all about loyalty and that you grew up in a time that transferring or changing teams was kind of taboo. People talked about you when you did that stuff back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So I want your unapologetic perspective. Now let's go to college. Okay. The NIL and the portal.
Things will change because at this rate, the money will run out. They're paying these athletes, which I'm in favor of college athletes getting paid. However, I kind of have a little different idea that it's probably never going to work, but it would work in my mind. The whole idea of giving these athletes money was the argument, well, I can't take my girlfriend out for a piece of pizza. I can't get a car. Well, now they're driving Ferraris, okay? And they can take their girlfriend to way more places than I can. So I think they need to cap it. And in my eyes, if you gave every kid $50,000,
Yeah.
number one, you're going to save a ton of money.
Yeah.
Okay. But number two, the athletes who deserve a lot more than 50,000, I think you put in a trust. Say you want to pay the kid $1,000,000, okay? He gets 50,000 like everyone else for college expenses, and the other 950 go in a trust. He will get that money when he gets his degree. And let's bring back the student athlete. Because right now, college is a farce of these kids showing up for 1 year and going to the NBA. They're not going to class.
Nope.
They have no intention of getting their degree.
Nope.
They don't belong in college, a lot of them. The only way they got in was because they could play, and we'll figure out how to get them through enough classes for 1 year, and they don't even pass these classes. They just get to represent the university on the athletic field.
Gotcha.
So, to me, I know it sounds almost communistic that everybody gets the same, but I think in the way it's going, to pay a college freshman $7 million, number one, he doesn't know how to handle $7 million. I'm 66. I don't know if I can handle $7 million. So you're giving all these kids, who basically, a lot of them come from nothing, this massive amount of money. And it's great. They're set up for life. Unfortunately, they're set up for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So. Now they get hurt. They're 25 years old. They're not in the league, and they've spent all that money, and they have nothing.
Yeah.
So by doing it in a trust, they get their degree. Now they're older, maybe can deal with all that extra money.
Gotcha.
And now you're really getting student athletes.
Gotcha. No, I understand that. So that's the NIL part, name, image, and likeness part. The portal itself, like,
well, the portal used to be, or what I thought when they put it in, was a good idea in the beginning, because I call kids who are either over-evaluated or under-evaluated.
Yeah.
Over-evaluated, this kid's a 5-star, and he's maybe a half a star. But he's got a name, and he's got a body, but he can't play.
Gotcha.
So he goes to this big-time college because of his name, and basically can't get on the floor. He's getting 3 minutes here. He can't play at that level.
Gotcha.
But you've already given him that 1-year scholarship.
Yep.
The portal's great. That kid needs to go find a place at the level that's realistic of where he can play.
Gotcha.
Now you get the under-evaluated. You've got a freshman or a senior in high school. He's 5'8" and 160 pounds. There's no way he can play D1. Well, how skilled is he? So he goes to maybe a D2 or a small D1, and all of a sudden he performs, and he's putting up 18 a game. Well, maybe we were wrong about this guy. He can play regardless of his size.
Gotcha.
So that, to me, is what the portal's for. The under-evaluated, the over-evaluated, or the unhappy athlete who's not getting playing time for whatever reason. Maybe they clashed with the coach. Who knows?
Gotcha.
There's a million reasons.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't be forced to stay in an unhealthy place for him mentally.
Gotcha.
But all these kids who are putting their name in the day after the season ends and shopping their wares, so to speak, now it just comes to the highest bidder, which, again, no loyalty with the coaches. I can't really blame the kids for getting $1 million or $2 million elsewhere when where they're staying, they're paying them $200,000.
Yeah.
It's kind of like employment. You know, you're working hard for this company and they're paying you a nice salary, but a bigger company with more money comes to you, it's going to be hard to say no.
Yeah.
And I get it with the kids, but I think if you put a cap on the 50,000 everybody, then I think, you may have a little more loyalty than you have now.
I know. It's going to be tough now since, some of these, like you said, are making $2 million, $7 million, whatever they're making. I mean, it's going to be hard to put that cat back in the bag, though.
It is. It's going to be challenging, but I don't think the universities can continue to pay these astronomical figures. When the basketball team is making more money the entire teaching
Oh, I know.
professors
Yeah,
at the university, something's very wrong.
yeah. Something's got to give. You're right about that. So I totally understand. I'm with you on that. Um, one of the things you and I have been going back and forth with, I think I'm a little more optimistic with this team, but I want to know, with no returning starters, give me your perspective on what you really think the UCF basketball team is going to do this year.
Well, first of all, I think Johnny Dawkins is doing a really good job with what he has.
Yep.
We cannot, we lost our leading scorer to $2 million to Auburn, and we lost another who would have been our second leading scorer to Providence for $1 million. Okay, UCF doesn't have that basketball budget to be able to pay the kids that kind of money.
Oh yeah, and our big boys, Cincinnati.
And then we lose the big boy to Cincinnati for X millions,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
So, you build this team, and then next year you got nothing again. The cupboard's bare. You got to go out and hunt players.
yep.
Again, the portal. Everybody's got their name in. I think there was 3,000 players in the portal last year.
3,000.
So
Wow.
you have to skim through all the portal problems and how much do these people want, and try to find players that you can afford that can play.
Yep.
Really, really a hard scenario.
Yep.
I don't think Johnny's that on board signing freshmen, which I can understand in today's environment. Again, he may not get the playing time as a freshman, but you're developing him, this and that.
He'll be
And,
gone.
a year or two later, he goes to some Big 12 team and beats you twice a year.
Yeah.
So I kind of understand the freshman philosophy. We're not going to get the Cam Boozers of the world, okay? Yeah. So trying to get a freshman like that at UCF it's not realistic. But there still is enough players out there if you go to enough games and watch to pick out a player here or there to help. I think you should always at least have two freshmen on the team and hope to develop them down the road where they can play as sophomores or juniors for you. Because knowing your program, knowing what you're wanting to accomplish, it takes time. It isn't bring in 12 guys and in 2 weeks they know what you want. I think they're in a learning curve. I think Johnny's schedule has been very favorable. You want some success early, especially with a young team or a team you haven't had players to build that confidence and camaraderie. And that comes from winning.
Yeah.
So we've gotten off to a good start. I think the schedule's been good. I think the next 3 or 4 games are all winnable. But then we get into that beast called the Big 12. And I look at our team compared to, I believe we were picked 14th out of 16, something in that area. Yeah. And unfortunately, I think if Johnny can get to 10, would be a huge successful year.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm gambling. I'm really thinking 10, and I told you I'm super optimistic about this team. For some reason, they're still kind of overachieving to me, and with the chemistry that they put together so far, and I'm watching each of the players. I've got a chance to be up close and personal with them. I'm looking at 9 or 10. So, and if they're picked 14th, I'll bet I'll take those odds.
I hope so, but I do like this team better as far as what I'm seeing working together and camaraderie and pulling for each other. I think it shows much more than last year's team. So I think Johnny went out and got players who are maybe a little more team oriented than in the past, which is a good thing.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out too that while we're talking about Coach Johnny, and he's one of my favorite people in the world, but I want to make sure Coach Tyson, Waterman, and Coach Hood, I mean, those guys get out there and they're recruiting. And, Coach Hood's a young coach that's going to be, you and I watched him on the sidelines. He's going to be special.
Yes, he is. He will be a head coach down the road, no doubt about it.
Definitely, definitely. All right, kind of shifting a little bit. We might come back to UCF, but right now I want to talk about your GOAT and who's the GOAT, because for these young guys, I want to make sure we relate to the young kids because they got their GOAT and we have our GOAT. But who do you really think is the GOAT?
In my opinion, nobody's better than Jordan was. He was the best defensive player. He was the best offensive player. He was fundamental. He was athletic. He really didn't have a weakness. Well, they said he didn't shoot the three. He didn't need to, number one. But number two, it wasn't a thing when he played. I think had he played in this era, he'd be shooting threes and being successful shooting threes. There's no reason to believe that he wouldn't have developed his 3-point shot.
Yep.
He worked for everything he got.
Yep.
When he was getting beat earlier in his career, he went in the gym and put on 25 pounds of muscle because he realized he needed more strength and muscle if he's going to go in with the trees inside.
Yeah.
So LeBron, I think, is a great player. I don't think he's quite the leader. You know, people talk about Jordan, how hard he was on his teammates.
Yeah.
But if you really want to know, that's probably one of the reasons they won.
Yeah.
Because he was relentless, giving everything he had, but not only giving everything he had, he wanted everything you had.
Yep.
And he was tough on you and made you mad, made you felt disrespected at times.
Yep.
But he did it for the single goal of winning. And there's just not many athletes who've ever been like him in that regard. He wanted to win the most with all the skills. You know, a lot of times these guys are very gifted athletes, but they don't have the discipline and the wherewithal to say, this is what I want to be. I want to be the best player ever, and I want to. What's it take? And it takes you being hard on other guys too, or bringing them with you. You can't do it alone.
Exactly.
You know, LeBron kind of he's left to go win, where the old guard would stay and say, I ain't going anywhere. I'm going to beat you with my guys.
Exactly.
Again, the loyalty aspect of athletics is gone.
Yeah, true.
And the other one, if it wasn't Michael Jordan, it would have been Wilt.
Okay.
I mean, he's been dead. He's been gone forever. He hadn't played since 72 or 3, and he still owns over 70 records.
Wow.
Which is unbelievable. So that would have been my 1-2.
Yes, I know you're the stats guy. Well, see, I guess I'm still looking in the more the modern area, like you're saying, who will their team to win and who wouldn't who wouldn't settle for less. Because, there's a story about Kobe where he talked about why he wouldn't let other people shoot the basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense because Kobe's putting in 6-7 hours a day shooting.
Exactly.
And you're putting in 45 minutes. Why should I pass you the ball?
Exactly.
Get your tail in the gym and work, and you'll get the ball.
Yep. Because even Calvin was talking about, Chucky Atkins was saying that when he played with Kobe, he was like, no matter what time he got to the gym, he couldn't beat Kobe.
And Kobe didn't know the time he was showing up. Chucky thought he was going to outsmart him and showed up at 4:30. Kobe'd been there since 3:30. I'm dripping in sweat. And Chucky just shook his head. But, Chucky got along really well with Kobe because, A, he was a very hard worker, and Kobe saw that. And, B, Chucky got Kobe the ball. So Kobe loved Chucky.
Exactly. All right, let's keep going with the NBA real quick. I want to do a little rapid fire with you. And like I said, no wrong answers here. This is just your opinion. I want to know what Coach Joe thinks when I say a name. So just blurt out the answer quick, and we're going to move fast through these. Steph Curry.
Greatest shooter.
Kobe Bryant.
A dog.
Victor Wembanyama.
Be the next MVP for the next 10 years.
Dang. Larry Bird.
My favorite player.
Gotcha. Magic Johnson.
Right behind him. They played the right way.
Hakeem the Dream.
Way underrated.
Gotcha. Bill Russell.
A winner. Won at every level. High school, college, the Olympics, the pros.
Oh, wow. See, I didn't know that. I'm glad you told me because everybody only thinks he won like the 11
NBA.
championships. Yeah.
Won two NCAAs at San Francisco.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that. See, that's why I need you on here. Nikola Jokic.
Game changer.
Yeah. Different type of player. I actually told Calvin, was that the kind of players he played against? And he got on me. LeBron James.
Great player.
Great player. That's a good answer. Vince Carter.
My highlight reel. I saw Vince Carter play in high school.
Tell me about that real quick.
The Magic had played the Knicks that night on a Friday night.
Yep.
This is when both teams were right in the hunt of it. And a friend of mine had gone to the game, and the next morning we're talking. And he's going on and on, what a great game. And I told him the best player in Orlando last night was in Winter Park High School's gym. And he looked at me, I said, this kid is unbelievable. And I would pay $5 back then just to watch Vince warm up. I didn't even have to see him play. He was a foot and a half over the rim laying it in because you couldn't dunk in warm-ups.
Yeah.
But he was a special player with just unbelievable athletic. I mean, just incredible.
Gotcha. And wasn't he in the band also?
He was the drum major where he'd take them 5 yard leaps with his
Oh
strides,
wow.
blowing the whistle out there. Both parents were teachers,
Yeah.
so he was very. He went back and got his degree. It was very important for him to do that. Just an unbelievable
Yeah.
player.
His dad coached with one of your good friends, right?
Yeah, his dad has been a assistant of Greg Shirley's for 20 years between Boone and Tennessee and Georgia.
Oh, wow.
He followed. They went together, and so Greg and him are very tight.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, so Chucky Atkins.
Overachiever. How many 5'10", 160-pound guys playing in the NBA who couldn't dunk?
I know. That's crazy.
Chucky was very fundamental. He was fast with the ball. Chucky actually was faster dribbling the ball than just running without it.
Yeah,
And
Calvin said the same thing. Wow.
his fundamentals were. That's why he made the league. Even when this first year, when Darrell Armstrong had gotten the big paycheck, Darrell Armstrong was a phenomenal athlete, but wasn't as fundamental. And in the last 4 minutes of games, Chucky was getting his minutes because Chucky wasn't going to turn it over.
Gotcha.
And I think, for him to play 10 years in the league is a testament of hard work, dedication, and he didn't get in the league until he was 25.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. 25?
Yeah, he had been the last cut of Miami out of college,
Gotcha.
then the last cut of the Lakers, and he went overseas and he won the European National Championship with Croatia. And he came back for the summer, and the Magic were looking for a backup point guard.
Yep.
And they called Chucky because he lives here. Would he work out these guys they're bringing in?
Oh, so he wasn't even brought in to
he
work.
wasn't there to try out. He was there just they needed to work against somebody.
Yeah.
Would you come out? I don't know if they're paying him $300 a day to come out and work out for an hour and a half with these so-called point guards they're bringing in. Guys with bigger names, bigger colleges, all that.
Yeah. Gotcha.
After the ninth guy, Doc Rivers said, "Fellas, the best guy we've seen lives right here in Orlando. He deserves a shot." And they gave Chucky a shot. And I think actually he probably took a pay cut to come here.
Oh, wow.
But now it's his chance to be in the league, and it turned out to be a great decision.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great story. Yeah, no, Chucky's a great dude. Really love Chucky.
Very loyal. Loyal to Evans, too.
Yep. He's still Evans Trojan. Went back and coached there. All right, folks, there you have it, episode 10. We wrapped it up. Stay tuned for episode 11 coming up really soon. Folks, this is what I do. This is what we do. Joe and I, we just talk, and we just understand that there's so much to learn when you just have dialogue. And that's what we're going to keep doing. Get ready, because I got a special treat. I'm going to talk about some things that Joe doesn't know we're going to talk about. Joe knows a lot about sports, but he doesn't know about what I'm going to bring on him in episode 11. So stay tuned for episode 11.